OffBeat Sports podcast.
It's been a tale of two seasons for the Boston Celtics.
I probably aged about 10 years just from that series.
I'd probably compare myself to just a younger, smarter, more handsome, stronger Michael Jordan.
Let's go Celtics. Go Patriots.
These are guys who, when you give them a bowl of Cheerios in the morning, they finish every last drop of milk.
Absolute clown over here.
I'm ready when you are, baby.
All right, everybody. Welcome back to the OffBeat Sports podcast. Today I'm joined by my co-hosts, Aidan, and the NBA expert, David Casper. Welcome to the show.
What's up, guys?
What's going on?
Be back.
All right. So, Mr. Casper, NBA in-season tournaments is upon us. We're kind of getting close to that the second round at a pool play. I mean, it's an interesting thought. Like, what are our opinions on it? I mean, I can go through how it works first for everyone if you want.
Yeah, please.
Yeah.
All right. So it starts with the pool play. I think there's 5 teams in each pool, 4 or 5. Everyone plays everyone. Actually, it's 4 teams. So every team is going to play. Oh no, it's 5. I'm wrong. 5 teams.
Isn't it?
No, it's not. It's different. So like the Celtics pool. Celtics pool is Magic, Bulls, Nets, and Magic.
It's only 4?
You
Plus
just said the
the
Magic twice.
Oh, Magic, Nets, Chicago.
Is it the
and
Knicks?
Pacers.
Raptors.
No, not Pacers.
Raptors
Raptors is the other one.
Oh,
Raptors
okay.
is the other one. All right,
Okay.
sorry. Yes. Okay, so there's 5 teams. Everyone plays everyone. Casper, it's like our old AAU tournaments. Everyone plays everyone in pool play.
No,
All right?
yeah, I know that.
Based on record, the first team, whoever has the best record, moves on for your pool. If there's ties, it goes to point differential, not head to head, which is interesting. Which is why the Celtics needed to win by 23. Separate note, because this is probably going to come out after that game. But so and then there's wild card spots. I think there's 2 wild card spots for each conference, if I'm correct, and that's going to be whoever has the best record that didn't win their thing plus point differential. So like point differential is the tiebreaker. And then it goes into bracket play. So like our old AU tournaments where you'd go and there'd be playoffs until you get to the final 2 teams, one Eastern, one Western, facing off in Vegas for the championship. And that's kind of how it works. And based on that, kind of, what is your opinion on it?
Isn't it they play on certain days? It's like Tuesday and Friday, I think.
Yeah, and they're like they're randomly spread out through their schedules, so it's not even they're regular season games that count as like in-season tournament games. So it's not like every game in a row is an in-season tournament game. They're fairly spread out.
So how does the championship work? Are they going to play during All-Star weekend, or are they just going to play?
No,
on
so
a
the championship,
random day?
I don't know when the championship is, but it's in Las Vegas, and so they're all built into the schedule except the championship game is will mean the 2 teams in the championship play an extra game, so they'll play 83 games instead of 82.
Wait, so just to clarify, say like the Celtics matched up against say the Heat win their group and the Celtics win their group, and they would play in the playoffs portion. That would count towards the regular season record.
Yep.
And
everything counts towards the regular season record except for the championship game.
Okay, so have they
all
not
the
even
teams that all the teams that are out will get consolation games against other teams that are out.
Okay, and those would not count towards the regular season, or they would?
No, they do. They do. So all the games, because those teams that make the playoffs, those games in those playoffs count towards the regular season, they have to make up the games for the teams that aren't in the playoffs. So there's consolation games to make up those games. So basically as filler games that also count towards the real postseason, which is interesting.
Okay.
So, like, my personal opinion on this is I like it. I think it brings some interest. It's a long NBA season, let's be honest. It brings some interest to these games in November and December, these random games on any given night that brings a playoff feel to these. And I feel like it kind of it's interesting because it's also like single game elimination where instead of like you having to go on a 7-game series, you got one night. And I think it makes it all real interesting for these random games in the season. So you kind of have something to root for. Like, because you know how you get into the, like, I'm a diehard Celtics fan. I watch every game, but like, you get into the drag of the season where you're kind of like, all right, when's playoffs coming around? Like, this gives you something else to root for when you have a team like this. Or even if your team sucks, you're not going to make the playoffs, but somehow you go on some Cinderella run in these in-season tournament games and you got an extra thing to root for. Like the Magic are probably going to move on. Like that's an interesting, like, although they're second in the East, but I'm sure they fall off at some point, and we can come back to this at the end of the season if I'm completely wrong or if I'm completely right. Like, but I think it's an interesting way because like now the Sixers have already been eliminated. They were like 1-2 and play like or in the in-season tournament like play. Like it's interesting, and I think it just brings an extra interest level to these early season games that haven't had an interest in a while. Like because like I just feel like this is the drag of the long season. But that's just me. I mean, Casper, how do you feel about this?
I don't personally. I don't like it. Like I get it. I get exactly what they're doing. I like the idea. Like, it's cool to try to bring some more meaning to the regular season, but, like, I think it's more for the players. It's more for the players to get on the court, not for us to be like, oh, my God, we just won the in-season championship. Because as a fan, I could not care less. If anything, I hate the games more because I got to watch the stupid courts. Like, they're horrendous.
That is the one thing I hate about it.
That's true.
Like, the Celtics court's not awful.
It's
and
not.
the Magic... No, I don't think. I think out of all of them,
the only court I like is the
ones.
Hawks court. The Hawks court's fine.
Did you see the Magic one? The Magic one's kind of nice.
Dude, I just wish I don't like how the apron of the court, like the color outside of the boundaries. Like I just don't like how that matches the court. Like it's like hard, like I would hate playing on it. It would be so hard to see. I don't like the line down the middle. Like if they just made it one color. And they made the apron like a wood color. Like it's not aesthetically pleasing at all. Like it like hurts my head.
I like the trophy in the middle of the court.
Dude,
that is cool.
The trophy, but they need to do that with the real post.
Yeah, get the Larry O'Brien for the finals back on center court.
Dude, like when the paint that has like the trophy in it, like that's cool. Like yeah, it's just little deep. Like it's so nitpicky. Like that's.
I think they tried too hard.
I think like the actual games, like I don't care. I don't like. Aren't the Celtics?
But the players do is the interesting thing. So you do get that playoff vibe because I mean, yeah, like to Tatum and Brown, that $500K probably means minimal. But like to a guy like Hauser or like Cornette or something, like that means a lot. So like their teammates want to fight for them to get them that money because that's big money for some of those lower level players. So I think it's an interesting thing because I think you see them play harder in. Well, except for the Celtics, that Magic game, that game was brutal, but I think it's gonna get refined as it goes. Like it's the first season of it. Like obviously,
that's what I'm saying. I think that's why I don't like it. Like I'm not a fan of it right now. To me, it just right now it just seems kind of like pointless.
Yeah, like Aidan, what do you think? I mean, like we
Well, I like the idea of the in-season tournament. You see similar things in soccer overseas where teams and leagues will play like right now the Champions League going on. You'll see teams like Man City, Man United, Real Madrid, like these teams that are in it will play league games in the middle of their own league schedule. So it's not like this is only happening in basketball. Like they got the model for this from other sports. And I do like the idea of it. Like you guys said, like some of the guys on minimum contracts are making less money. That money is going to go a long way for them. Whereas guys like Tatum, Brown, Holiday, KP, these guys making big salaries won't mean as much. But what I would like to see is just in future iterations of this is somewhat of an incentive in addition to money. Like I was saying, if they added in for the winner of this would get an automatic spot in the play-in tournament. And of course, if you finish higher, higher. I like that. If you finish higher than that, like obviously, like if you finish the 5th or 6th seed, you take that. But it's like there should be some kind of reward other than money that kind of incentivizes teams, like especially those like the Pistons, Wizards, teams that normally wouldn't even be close to playoff contention to really put in their best effort in these games as kind of like a
You
way
should
to
you
get
should
in.
minimum the 10, like the 10 in the play-in. That should
Yeah,
be
That one's
that
interesting
would be, dude, could
because
you
you got to
imagine
think.
like the
Well, because
Pistons?
most of the time, I mean, probably about 95% of the time, the winner of it will already be a playoff team. So that's interesting. But like, I wonder if there's like a way to structure it where if you win your pool, you automatically get a playoff spot. But that's a little bit different. But then you also
That-
kind of like screw the team that does get that 9 or 10, like they're automatically bumped out because a team won that in-season tournament. But
Well, I
I
just
get
think
where you're
that
going with it. I get where you're
yeah,
going with it.
I just think like the teams that aren't in playoff contention for them, it would be an incentive as a way to still get into the playoffs regardless of how the rest of your season goes, or at least have a chance to get in the play-in. But also for teams that are kind of on the bubble, maybe a team like Miami, a team like Indiana, and probably Orlando if they fall, that will kind of be right on the cut for playing and guaranteed playoff spot. That if they were to suffer an injury later in the season, they're fine because they already have a spot in the play and they don't have to worry about falling out of the thing altogether. So just
The
kind of
only
like an
there's one problem I
extra
see with that.
reward.
There's one problem I see with that. Is because how's the draft gonna work? Because like
Well, the
if,
draft,
say the Pistons win it somehow, like miraculously, Cade like just goes crazy and they win the championship and they get a play-in spot, but they're like, I don't know, like 30-52.
They have like
Like
the last seed.
yeah.
like if
That's
you how are you
intriguing.
how are you gonna be in the playoffs with the highest like it's just that doesn't make sense. I see your idea.
But like that's also like you got to think like the Pistons would get rolled on in the playoffs. So how interesting is that for a playoff series? Where do you really want to see the Pistons going like playing the playoffs? Not really, right? Like
Yeah,
they're
like
gonna
remember
get
they played
rolled
the
on.
Bucks. Remember they played the Bucks and like Drummond was like their only good player. Like that was
Oh, Blake
terrible.
Griffin too. Yeah, that was awful.
Dude, Blake didn't even play that series, did he?
Did he? I don't know. I don't know if he
I
played.
think
I
it
know he
was
was on that team though.
oh dude, I think it was like the year before he got there. It was like
No, he
Reggie
was on the
Jackson
team because
and
that was
Drummond.
he was his all-star year. I know he was on the team. I just think
Well,
they got rolled.
you just
Maybe I
look
don't
at like an example too of kind of an incentive for the playoffs, like the MLB All-Star game used to do the winner of the All-Star game, they would get home field or home, what I mean? Like they'd have the home field advantage in the playoffs or in the World Series. So it's something like taking an exhibition game, and obviously these aren't exhibition, but just kind of an extra addition to the schedule and having it mean something down the line. So like all these guys are millionaires and the money's great, especially for the lower guys, but there should be something else I feel that's missing. Whether it's a plan spot, could be something else too that we haven't thought of yet. But that would be nice to see that adopted in future seasons. But I think currently it's not bad. I enjoy watching the in-season tournament games, and this is kind of the dead stretch of the season, before the All-Star break and the ramp up to the playoffs. So it makes it interesting.
I got
Pistons
two
made
things.
the playoffs in 2018-19, and yes, Blake Griffin was on the team.
Was he playing though? Was he hurt?
I cannot
Oh wait,
confirm
no,
or
I think
deny
you
that.
might be right. I think he was beefing with Giannis. Like I vaguely remember that.
Blake was on
Yeah,
that team. I remember him playing in that series.
I just looked it up. He's on the team, but let me.
Regardless, all right. Two things I want to say. One of them, Loki just blanked. All right, the other one. I don't know how it would work, but like theoretically. Oh wait, I remember. Go back. All right, this is important. The one thing I really like, the in-season tournament to me, why it seems kind of boring. Big reason is like, if everybody's like, if my team's fully healthy in a regular season game versus they're fully healthy in an in-season game, like it doesn't feel different to me. Like it feels the same. Like it might feel different for them, but like, which I think is good. That's a benefit. Is the players are more like they're more intrigued to play, which is what you guys are getting into. Like for a fan, it's just like, all right, the court looks different. That's kind of cool. That's about it. The other thing I wanted to get into was, I don't know how it would work, but I think like if they could theoretically find some way to do a March Madness tournament with all the NBA teams, that would be so fire. Like that would be like the most, like I would rather watch that than the playoffs. Like
That's
would
so
be
tough
so
though, because
fun.
like they structuring that within the season would be tough.
No, I know, but like, could you imagine?
That would
'Cause
be
then,
kind
like,
of electric, though.
It's like, dude, imagine the Celtics are the number 1 seed and they play the Pistons in the first round. Like,
By the way, Blake Griffin played in that series. He only played 2 games, though, and averaged 25 points a game.
okay, yeah. So the game I'm thinking of in my head, I don't think he played. But still.
Yeah, sorry, go
Like,
back. I didn't.
Imagine the Celtics play the Pistons, like, in the first round. Like, yeah, you could say, oh, it's an in-season tournament. But how embarrassing would it be if the Celtics are, like, the first team knocked out in a tournament? And, like, the Pistons
No, I get what
say
you're
that
saying.
they-
It's a very intriguing idea because March Madness, I think, and I don't think this is a debate, is easily the most entertaining basketball event of the year.
Oh, yeah. So much better.
Like,
So
it's
much,
an
especially
interesting
if you
thought.
know some of the guys on the teams. Like, March Madness used to be so fun. Like, when mixtapes, like, were new. And it was, like, so cool. Like, I remember watching Trey Young and, like, Zion's mixtapes. Like, when Trey Young and MPJ played on the same AAU team, and then they went to college. Like, watching those March Madness games was so fun because you, like, were invested. You, like, knew who they were. Like, it's
Well, I
still
just
fun.
think like going off the March Madness idea, I just think logistically it might be tough with only 30 teams. Like they would either have to expand to 32, or you'd have to have a weird thing where like 14
Do a
teams
bye,
play, and
dude.
like the 14 teams, so like 7 matchups would have to occur beforehand to then get down to 16 teams. And kind of work from there. So it's just an odd number, only having 30 teams. Compared to
Yeah,
March
which-
Madness, where you start
And
Awesome.
expansion's coming soon, right?
Yeah, you would have to expand or
How
have
long
like a
is
bunch
that?
of preliminary matchups to make that work.
If they
Hmm.
actually did a March Madness, how long do you think it would take?
So long. I mean, you got to think
You
it.
think so? I feel like March Madness goes on forever, but that's like how many teams play in March Madness?
64.
lot.
Well, 68.
I mean, I'm trying to think like how that would even work. Like it would be so
Yeah.
cool. If it worked,
Yeah,
but
but like it's an interesting thought, and I give the in-season tournament. I like it. And Casper seems like you're not a huge fan, but maybe they'll iron some details out and you'll warm up to it.
I like the concept. I just don't think it's there yet. That's why I don't like it.
Yeah,
Like
well,
I don't
everything's got to
like
be
it
built
because
in
I'm
time.
critiquing it. I'm not like
Yeah.
hating on
Yeah. All right. Well, I think that was a good analysis on this new in-season tournament as we have started to be able to see it, and we'll see how it unfolds for the rest of the season. And yeah. So thanks everyone for listening. Be sure to check us out on Instagram at offbeat_sports and on TikTok at offbeat sports. We will see you next time. Thanks, boys. See ya.
Get your
Call them all Texas.